Okay, so this is February 16th, Thursday working group meeting. And Jim emailed me earlier, Jim Elko, and he won't be able to make it today. Hennish and I are the two present at this meeting. And Hennish, I don't think you've made like the last 3 or 4 maybe, because you've been busy. So
Sounds about right.
yeah, basically we'll talk a little bit about what's been going on over the last month. Hennish says he has a few things to share, and then I think we'll have a little dialogue about where we go with the San Diego Coalition. And what I'll do is we'll have the first part, and then I'll stop the recording. I'll make a separate one, post it separate when we have that discussion. That way you're not watching a 1-hour video. You sort of break it up by subject. So with that, the monthly February meeting, Hennish, you might have seen the email I put out. Jim and I decided last week that what we would do for the meeting is go up to the university planning group meeting where they were going to have where they did have the mobility hub presentation again. So we went up there, and they had a lot of topics on their agenda. So the mobility hub, basically they made their presentation but really didn't have time to get to the feedback and stuff. I left about a little before 9, and Jim left a little after 9. I think they went till 10 o'clock. So they had a 4-hour meeting. Yeah.
Wow.
I also went to the Old Town planning group meeting 2 weeks ago, and then that was last week, and then the La Jolla Town Council last week as well. The Old Town again was Mobility Hub, and what I learned there, something I didn't know, is the airport traffic using Taylor Street, and the extra congestion that brings in. And I didn't understand why, if you're leaving the airport going east on 8, you would drive through Old Town rather than get on Interstate 5 and, get on 8. Until I got out of the meeting and got on 5 at Old Town and sat in the backup getting onto 8 for 20 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Realizing I should have took Taylor Street. So.
Yeah, and I'm about to switch offices, and we're moving over to Liberty Station.
Uh-huh.
And the office building that we're looking at is directly under the flight path, right across from the river from the runway. Unfortunately, the building's pretty well insulated, so it's quiet inside. But yeah, I was concerned about traffic. I was concerned about airplane noise, but it still might be the best move for us. But yeah, I've heard that Taylor Street's a shortcut that all the locals use.
Yeah, to go east.
Yeah.
But you're not out that way, are you?
No, I'm in PB. So I just have to cut up Nimitz to Mission Bay Drive to get back home.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's what I learned at that one. And the other thing that jumped out at me is on the mobility hub. They're trying to collect input. Are you riding your bike to the trolley? Are you taking the bike on the trolley? Are you using car to go if it was here, or the other options that may come up, Zipcar. Renting bikes, using Uber. They didn't mention using your skateboard, but that's probably an option too.
Given, right?
However, everybody in the audience, everybody present, that's either on that planning group or was in the audience, I just turned 60, and I felt like I was the youngest one there. And so Mobility Hub's meeting with these groups, and they're not really hitting a big demographic that's older 20s, 30s, into the 40s that are commuting to work. They're going to meetings, which is primarily people with time on their hands, retired or.
So.
Go ahead.
So it's interesting because a meeting I met with earlier this week with people closer in age range to me, all community leaders that I want to drop names right now are saying we believe that MTS and public transportation is going to go extinct the way we know it right now. Having these old forms of transportation as potential solutions to our new problems isn't isn't reasonable thought process. We've built too much of San Diego on big lots, low density, and car centric to think that a rail system or a fixed line system of any sort is going to help. Even all the renderings I've seen from Alan Huffman for the Quickway proposal, I just finished reading that this week, and I'm meeting with him next week to go over it and see where he's at. I really believe they're going to be stranded assets because no matter how you cut it, it's just not an effective system. Like I went downtown, take an Uber. It cost me $9, right? But 75% of that is for the driver. So if that $9 fare costs me $2 or $3 on a driverless car, I'm never taking public transportation. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And that's what more forward-thinking professionals and community activists and people that are in the know understand. You saw that letter that I wrote out last week that was signed by all the major organizations in PB, sent out to the Department of Transportation, sent out to the chief administrators at the MTS as well, and sending it out to the SDSU driverless car program that they've just instituted as well. Yeah. So lots of big players here in San Diego that if they don't know now, they know, but they know what's happening, and I want to make those mobility hubs work, but there's just no reasonable expectation that they would be a more efficient or effective form of transportation than the other ones that are coming on the horizon right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Although it's going to be in place for a while. I
agree.
I can't say how long, whether it's 10, probably more like 20, but it could be 30 or 40 years before I want to go up to Carlsbad and I'm getting into a driverless car that takes me to Carlsbad. Initially I might hop a driverless car to the trolley stop, head over to Old Town, or actually I'd take a driverless car to Old Town, hop on the coaster and head to Carlsbad, and then get on another driverless car, within that region. But
of course, that's a reasonable way to do it as well. Yeah, for sure. That's
but
an angle.
It might be, once autonomous vehicles are, 90% of what you see on the highway, then you would just get one and you'd go up to Carlsbad in it.
Yeah, no problem. And there'd probably be other people in it, and it effectively, you're effectively public transportation because you might share it with 2, 3, 4 other people.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure whether you stop planning on mobility hubs altogether. You do have to look at the scale of it, though, because all they have right now is money to do that study on the mobility hub. And then they have to come up with their outcomes. And so by the time they start implementing it, they're at least 5, 6, 10 years out, for things to happen. Although there are small steps you can take on better bike lanes, walking paths, more curbage along the side of the trolley stop so you can have more Ubers or driverless cars stopping to people to load and unload. That's the kind of stuff they're looking at.
Agreed. Yeah, good. Perfect.
So it's interesting on that.
And then that goes along with the other key thing that happened this week with us is, I met with some other community leaders, and they went to the mayor on Tuesday to get more funding for Beautiful PB and a couple other organizations to create better awareness within the planning department at the city for eco districts as a key overlay for all our community plans going forward. And there's multiple facets to an eco district, but a lot of it would include, obviously, eco-friendly design and development, increased density, reduced reliance on parking, and we've seen that same trend happening with a lot of the notices that was going out. There was a presentation at the CPC, the Community Planners Committee. I don't remember who the speaker was exactly, but it was on the agenda where he was pushing an agenda for revised planning with reduced parking, higher density, especially in transit-oriented development areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's all good. Now I'm hearing a lot of talk on increased density. I think all the neighborhoods are starting to discuss it. Old Town had a map they handed out with the area. You know where that diner is there, the breakfast place on the corner, Pacific Highway and Taylor Street?
Yeah, the Pancake House or something.
Yeah. That I'm not sure exactly what the status is of it, but that was marked off as an area for some higher density, and then there was another part in town too. So they're thinking about that. And then there was mention of some stuff happening over west of the freeway, in the Midway area as well. There's the talk of the stuff going on over in the Toys R Us area. Got the development in Bay Park, where there's some people saying, you could go up to like 45 feet above the 30 without really blocking views, because you have that hotel or motel sitting there anyhow.
Sure.
And I also just learned, I didn't realize, the 30-foot limit sounds like it's west of Interstate 5, not east of Interstate 5.
Correct.
So that means, like the Raise the Balloon group that doesn't want to see 60-foot high-rises along that whole front, blocking the people lower on that hillside's views. They're just battling to preserve what they have. So yeah, it's if you're an engineer and you're not here living in San Diego, you're a Houston firm or something looking at everything on paper. Higher density, higher, taller buildings make sense on paper, but there are the issues of how do you mitigate the people whose property are impacted, because it's a property drop if you're losing a view of the bay. There's no
absolutely
way around
absolutely.
I suppose though, if you said, okay, so you put in a higher building, we'll say 50 feet right there along Interstate 5, and as you go back a couple of blocks, you're up 10 feet, so now you get a 40-foot building. You go back another few blocks, now you're a 30-foot building. That those property values are going to go up because it has more development potential. But that's only if you're going to sell your property. If you want to live there,
right,
you've lost your view. So your property value went up, you lost your view, so that you got to figure out how this rolls out over time to mitigate, the concern that the citizens have. It's
agreed. Yeah.
One of the topics when I went to the La Jolla meeting, that was last Thursday actually, and decided to cancel that. I think Jim was the only one that was going to be able to make it. And I had found out that they had Stacy Spector and Deacon Vargas from Father Joe's there as guest speakers. So they were talking about the homelessness issue and filling in the La Jolla Town Council on that. They had a pretty good turnout. And just listening to Stacy, did you make it to the town hall meeting that Elvin organized?
I did, a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stacy sounds like she's really been doing her homework and getting a handle on things. Because she was only in the job about a month at that town council. So, listening to her and Deacon Vargas talk, it was a good presentation.
Who's Vargas?
He's the CEO of Father Joe's.
Oh, that's right. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and he's been in that position come tomorrow 2 years.
Okay.
One of the things I really liked was he pointed out that these people that are homeless, a lot of them are not moving around a lot. They sort of, there's a certain population that stays put in an area. They're comfortable in it. They know the little nooks and crannies they can hide in and know how to work the streets. And his point was that, we all try to look out for our neighbors, and alert our neighbors of problems and dangers of issues. And we got to start thinking of the homeless as our neighbors. They just don't live in as fancy of a house as we do. It may be a tent or a sleeping bag or a place where they tuck away. But they are people. They are living in our neighborhood, and it's not just how do we get them out of our neighborhood and into somebody else's neighborhood. That's not going to solve the problem. Yet a lot of the citizen questions I heard were, how do I go about reporting this? What's it take to get the police to show up faster? Because by the time you show up, the guy's moved on down the block, and then nothing can happen. And so there's a lot of that stuff. So I asked her. I said, well, have you given any thought to putting together some sort of a information pamphlet, brochure, or something, a guidebook that could go out to citizens, that could go out to town councils and planning groups and other organizations? And I told her, I said, at the homelessness town hall meeting, I heard somebody say that a homeless person might not talk to somebody for a day or 2 days straight. They're not approaching people just to have a conversation. And all of us living in houses sort of walk past them and don't really strike up a conversation. And how powerful it is to stop and have a conversation, and it just lifts their spirits. And I said, but then I hear somebody talked to a homeless guy a few months back and he beat him up, and so do you talk to him? Do you not talk to him? Do you throw him $1 for a meal, or donate some clothes to him? Or in doing so, are you creating a dependency? So, do you help? Do you not help? And, you go right down the list. There's two sides of this. And what should a citizen do? A guide like that would be great. But then I further went on and said, I don't think it should just be a guide that you put together quickly and throw out there. I think it should go out in a synchronized fashion with other initiatives that's taking place by organizations like Father Joe, by town councils, by planning groups. And so there's a mass movement all at once across all of San Diego, to really start addressing the problem. You ramp up your support centers, and that's when you start to teach the citizens how to interact with them, how to report them, how to encourage them to get help. And so she I think took that with. She said it was something that she really thought would be good, to do that type of a synchronized effort. I got a bit of a laugh out of it. So did a couple people sitting next to me, because there was a gal in front and says, "Well, information like that should just be put onto the back cover of a phone book. Everybody has one sitting right there in their kitchen, their hallway near the phone, and that way you can distribute it to everybody." And I thought to myself,
I mean, the short information on that, isn't it just called a homeless outreach team, right? The hot team.
Probably, yeah. And
Man.
some of that, a lot of that information's probably out there. Individuals aren't going to go seek that out. I did a look at it, and I can find a few things. But anyhow, it was just, that was just some of the conversation I had and stuff. But the thing that really hit me was the one gal that said, well, this should just be published in the back of the phone book that gets distributed to everybody. And I thought, again, that's a little bit out of touch. I don't know anybody in their 20s or 30s that are using a phone book, because I haven't seen one in my house for many years as well,
Nope. Yeah, I had a friend that taught me a cool skill. And now I can rip phone books in half, and I'm only average strong. It's all down to technique. So when I see a phone book, I'm happy to show someone a cool trick, party trick, and rip it in half. Well, I can rip a phone book in half now. It's the dying skill, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I noticed the Clean and Safe program has launched. That's really great, and I need to find out how to get involved with that more myself. I found a mid-coaster here. It's a fly-through.
Yep, I've seen that.
Sort of goes along. That was pretty good, so I posted that.
That was cool. Yep.
Back. The mobility hub stuff. There was a survey. I also got the. I don't know how many people have gotten these, but it's a Sandag Regional Transportation Survey, And so I've
I did
loaded
that
an
one.
app
Yeah, I got the
my
email on
phone,
it. Yep.
And it's our move, and next week they'll be tracking my transportation to and from work, which is all from about where that window is in the back there by my bedroom over here to the computer, you know, with the occasional trip to the store. So, but it all adds up for their data.
Yeah.
There was
Agreed.
an article on the seawall and the new seawall that's up there down by Balboa. Gary commented here on the cracks in the wall, and I'm not a concrete expert, but I did on a bike ride down there notice that about every 5 feet there is a hairline crack through the seawall, and so he was talking about how that's going to probably need to let it cure, let it finish cracking, and then get a sealer on there that soaks in and seals that up to protect the rebar. So anyhow, you know, that's just some of the stuff that's been going on. We've had some conversations about the purpose of, you know, what niche can San Diego Coastal Coalition fill. Jim and I have talked. He's mainly the one that shows up. We've talked about the oh, now I'm going blank here. You know, being an information hub.
Yeah.
Gary was in one meeting, and Brian Curry came on too in that meeting, but then Gary wasn't there to talk about the short-term vacation rentals and some of the discussions that are starting up. Like Elvin said there's discussions with the state. I don't know if he's working with the state or he's working with Todd Gloria as a representative to the state. But the concept there is, you know, starting to develop some policies that say, well, these are some things you have to do if you're going to have a vacation rental.
Yeah.
You gotta be paying your taxes. You gotta be licensed as a business. You gotta have a 24-hour contact number posted on the house. You know who's managing this thing, and if there's violations, a certain number of noise reports. You know, you lose your permit type stuff, but that type of stuff. I think the
Sure.
Safe San Diego neighborhoods. I think some of the people that were working this are sort of holding off because I think Safe San Diego neighborhoods would rather get, you know, they view it as these are illegal. They're illegal operating in residential areas, and it sounds like there might be some movement coming up over the next few months to a year to actually enforce that.
Yeah.
And they're concerned that if policies get in place saying, well, you can operate this way under these guidelines, or you can operate right now, but if you start enforcing guidelines on top of those operations, that it grandfathers it into place more, and you're not able to flat out eliminate it. So there's a little bit of tension, I think, there between organizations, and I'm not sure the two sides are coming together to have a discussion at the table. It could be, and I just don't know about it. You know, so
Yeah.
I don't get
I don't
to
know.
as many meetings as a lot of other people do. So you said you had a couple of things to share.
Yeah, that was the key. The key things were the meeting with the mayor pushing the eco district measure. That's with the Sustainability Matters group. Kristen Victor was leading that up. She told me some cool stuff. She just moved her office into PB directly above the grass skirt, and yeah, so she's got a nice office space there, and she's sharing it with her husband, who's a real estate attorney. And so we had a meeting there with a few other community leaders, and we're just talking about how she was going to go meet with the mayor. She had 30 minutes with Faulkner on Tuesday to push to get $50,000 discretionary funding for beautiful PB and I can't remember, C3 potentially, the Creative Citizens for the Century group. And that's a good organization to be affiliated with. They have their breakfast meetings that they do, the C3 group. And I signed up for the C3 event. C3 San Diego is what it is, c3sandiego.org. Citizens Coordinate for Century. So between Beautiful PB and Citizen Coordinator for Century to get some money so they can start doing education programming for the planning department, because they're finding that they're getting pushback from the planning department for these eco districts, which should be a win-win. And then, we were kind of surprised to hear that some of these people from the planning department were saying, nope, we don't want to, for no good reasons besides that, maybe they don't understand the concept or people are adverse to change. So she was pushing for it, and actually, Faulkner had pushed for eco district stuff back in the day when he was our council member. And so that was an interesting conversation. We spent an hour or so with them to talk about what that plan is, and what the ask was the key thing was the money, so they could educate the planning department, so we could try to implement eco districts in Pacific Beach and throughout San Diego and all the community plans.
Yeah.
Yep. And so on that same note, the C3 group, they have their breakfast meetings every month. The next one's coming up on February 23rd at 7 to 9 a.m. in Balboa Park. And it's council members Alvarez and Sherman discuss plan to increase affordable housing. So that's another key component of the eco district, is obviously to have the density and to have the affordable housing necessary, so we have our teachers and our firemen that can live in the community that they serve, instead of having to commute from all over town to come and work at our schools or serve as our community service people.
Yeah. Yeah, this last meeting, the last meeting they had here, is this the agenda on it, or?
It says notes on the side. I don't know if that'd be something there. I don't know. Yeah, there are archives on their website, it looks like.
Yeah. I'll have to, is that their website? There should be a spot. Oh, here's the website. Jump out there. Yeah, I haven't been on the site recently. I'll have to go out. I'll look at that meeting, get signed up for it. I went to the last 2 meetings.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't been to one of those, so this will be my first one.
How do they relate to the Sustainability Matters?
Sustainability Matters is pushing for getting funding to the C3 group and to Beautiful PV, as you can see at the bottom there, to create some kind of education program for the planning department in San Diego, the city's planning department people, so they can try to implement eco districts here.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be good. Okay.
That was the big one there. What else is there? Yeah, I mean, that's, the key things. I know we had that mobility hub, transit hub meeting last month on January, maybe a couple weeks ago, was a joint Claremont. I wasn't able to attend that one. I was also busy. I don't know how that one went. We've got the PV planning group meeting next Wednesday. For development next month, there's going to be a lot of projects to review. 3 from Tim Golba, 1 from James Alcorn, who's one of the leading eco-friendly architects in San Diego, we found out. He's coming to us with projects that are coming out for 2, 3, 5 years down the road, asking, hey, what can we do to accommodate what you guys think are best practices for Eco District, for PB, which is incredible, right? So we're really encouraging more developers to come to us for stuff like that, because we have experts like Kristen Victor on Sustainability Matters, like Chris Olson with Beautiful PB, that know and espouse these values so well, because they spend so much time with the architects and developers that do that to really push their agenda, which is great. We're also got a 112-room hotel that's getting developed on Mission Bay Drive, where that Fairmont hotel is right now, Fairmont Inn, something like that. So that's a big project that'll be coming up in the next year or so.
Where the
that one called
Fairmont is.
Yeah.
Bay Drive?
East Mission Bay Drive. Is it called the Roadway Inn? No, I thought it was called the Fairmont or something. Maybe it's the Roadway. Fairfield? I don't know. Let me take a look. But over there on Mission Bay Drive, near where the dealerships are and stuff, so they're going to level an old hotel and put in a nice new Marriott. Yeah. It was the Roadway Inn. Yeah, Roadway, I'm sorry. So that whole thing is getting taken down, and it's going to be a nice hotel.
Where the heck is the roadway? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it's right where Grand Avenue runs into Mission, just south of Glendora. So Bunker Hill, further south from Bunker Hill. So this is roadway in. You see it on your map there?
You're seeing
Roadway
it,
in
huh?
San Diego Beach.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's right up.
No, that's Red
Yep.
Roof.
Yeah, further down, just above the trade winds. Further south.
Trade winds. Okay, right there.
Right there.
Okay. Yeah, that's where all those. That's that tour bus.
Party bus
business
parking.
out in front.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's
Yep.
hiding in the back.
So that's all gone.
Yeah. Are they taking this whole square then?
The whole thing. Yep. 112 rooms, pool on the front facade, and I know the developer, and he was telling me he's trying to incorporate like a wave theme into the building and stuff, and trying to make it look cool. And
Uh-huh.
he knows the appeal. That these hotels are at 95% occupancy all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that'll work out nice with the transit right across the street. You can go from there downtown. Eventually the new De Anza.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it'd be
Yep.
nice to get Caltrans to pop a new exit in here. I don't know if you could do it. It's pretty tight. But if you're getting off, if you're going to go up Balboa to the east, you have a. I wonder if I can draw on here. Let's see. Where's my drawing tools? Spotlight, pen. You come off of Interstate 5 here. Can I change the color on that? I can't change the color to red. But you come off here and circle around, and join in. And then you come up and you go, if you want to go east, you would just come right up here and go east, so you're not having to cross that intersection. And then people wouldn't come off here to go east. You just circle that corner. And I even think put that back in. I even think it'd be great to take out part of the. There's my pen again. Wait a second. I'm seeing if I can change pen color. I don't see where to do it.
No problem.
Right in
Yeah, I just found out that measure distance tool on Google Maps. I don't know if you knew about that one.
Yeah, I use that.
How you can measure distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right in here, you put in a big traffic oval, so that if you're coming down Grand and you want to go this way, you come in and you'd have two of these little critters in here. So if you come off of this exit and you want to go into the De Anza area, you come off here, you get into the traffic circle, you do your U-turn, you come back out, and now you're going down this way, and
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It's just whether someone will bite on it and want to do it, and if there's enough space to make it happen.
I just got to write it up, send it to Sandag, send it to Alan Huffman, see what he thinks, and send it to whoever might want to look at it.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I hear you. So yeah, those are the key things that I've got. I mean, it's just the development projects, and then pushing for the sustainable development.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll wrap up this topic, and I'll start a new recording.